The effects palette. Okay, so it's not really a palette, but what I want to do here is start out simple with a shape and go into effects and kind of look at what else I have. My favorite, pucker and bloat. For any one of these, you can preview it. Bam. Very cool pattern. Very cool pattern. I mean, come on. And that took me like 2 seconds to make. And that's from a square. Could you imagine what would happen if I would have used like maybe a star? Okay. Another very cool intricate pattern. Can you make it into a brush? Yes. You know, can I make it into a corner? Yes, using the pattern brush. Keep in mind, it's not limited to that, however. You know, you could take this one shape and build upon it. So, you know, I can go like this. Maybe I take this now, and what I did, I used Alt there to make a copy of it. And I can go back into here and say, maybe I want a twist to that. Maybe 10 degrees twist. Not so good. But it's one of those things you got to kind of experiment around with. You could do a free distort on it, which is pretty nice because you could take it and maybe, you know, kind of manipulate it in some manner like this. Sometimes I'll use these bottoms as a reference point, so I'll take this, and that way I can get a straight edge. Again, very cool pattern. If I rotated that and put it on the corner piece, now don't forget, you know, if I rotate this just like this, it's going to distort the pattern. It's much better to take the overall and do a transform on it, and then take and preview that, and then rotate it ever so slightly. See? Now it doesn't distort. Okay, so that's the difference between actually moving the object and using the transform palette to manipulate that object. So if I went in here and deleted this and made this into my corner piece, that'd be pretty easy to do. You know, all I do is have to go in here and do define brush preset pattern, and then go in here and say corner 5, and you can quickly see that you're going to get a lot of corners and a lot of runs. And then you can go back in here, and let's say, for example, this brush is nice, but I don't want to mess it up. Well, I can click and drag it down here to copy, and now make a new variation of that brush. And now the corner pieces are going to be this one and this one. And to look at that one, voila. Now, it's just not limited to, let's say, this whole distort and transform. If you go to warp, there's a couple hundred other ones down here, it feels like fisheye. And these are older ones that have been in Illustrator for quite some time. So, you know, not as exciting, but this one, at least I can go into its different attributes for the warp option. And I can get some kind of shape maybe. Again, not as cool, but it's there for you in case you need it. Like wave, for example. Waves, you can see that all these are in the same packet as these right here. So you, even just going into one of these, you can go into all of them. When you're doing drop shadows, feathers, and any of the other outer glows and stuff, these are adding gradients to it, so I can't use it within the workflow I'm working at now. Rasterize is bad because it takes it and turns it into, you know, pixels instead of vectors, so you don't want that just yet. Maybe at the end. The outliner, this Pathfinder is a whole different thing altogether. I'll be handling that separate. Same with this. So I would, for right now, I would say stick to this and stick to the warp tools. And the rest of this is going to be covered under later lessons. Now, for one last thing, I'm going to show you a very complex thing you can do to make, fill patterns within shapes. That's in the next video.